Oh, God.
Oh, hi, Hal.
Hi. I'm sorry. I'm just glowing.
You are. And you've been up longer than John King and Steve Kornacki combined.
That's right. That's right. And I didn't have an entire network feeding me, coffee and amphetamines and running to Starbucks in the middle of the night. And allowing me to, putting me on a hanger for 4 hours while they waited for nothing's coming in from Philadelphia. Put him in a hyperbaric chamber.
And I have to say, Hal, we left it all on the field, I thought, for the pre-election sexy liberal. And I didn't even want to do November. I'm like, I'm done. We took back America. And then they just won't stop. Billy Baldwin tweeted, still haven't quite figured out this whole Four Seasons landscaping thing. And you just said there needs to be a play about this whole charade narrated by the dildo salesman next door. I'm like, it's writing itself.
I know. I'm like, I need to have a meeting with everybody. I'm like, okay, who are you going to be? Are you going to be one of the landscaping people?
Are you the dildo guy?
I'm being the dildo salesman behind a plexiglass screen with just a little hole or whatever, and just Mike Pence walking by every so often, going, booth number 3 is not working. I put in 10 quarters and it's giving me 8 quarters worth of video. This is so wrong.
It's like no matter what happens politically, comedy will never die. Just when I'm exhausted and my chiffon is wet, I read Brian's tweet. Fox News suspended Judge Jeanine because she wanted to defend Trump's voter fraud charges. That's how phony baloney their lawsuits are. I don't know whether she did a Norma Desmond show or a King of Comedy show from her basement. It's just
right.
Kimberly Guilfoyle was giving out lap dances for Trump donations. I just can't. They won't stop, Hal. They won't
stop feeding us material. It's so beautifully cruel. And I'm looking forward to you doing her Judge Jeanine's audition tapes for other networks. That piece writes itself.
There's an idea.
Rudy Giuliani
writing that down.
Rudy Giuliani brought a pedophile to the Four Seasons Total Landscaping presser. A convicted pedophile, not just a sex offender, because we know that's basically you can't wiggle an elbow without bumping one in that crowd. But a dude was incarcerated for showing his junk to a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old. Not even there's no
okay. And you and I are equally immature on Twitter and everywhere. Trump said, since when does the lamestream media call who our next president is? And you just said, get the out.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. I'm not impressed. And I have to say, there have been a couple of moments where I was towards him even when he was obviously teary-eyed getting out of the car and walking up, and then there's this weird picture of him holding his phone up like he needed to show ID at the gate to get inside, this weird brain fart he had. And I was I almost felt bad for him. And I was no, his eyes are running because he snorts Sudafed. What am I talking about? What? He's never shown emotion before about anything. Get out of here. And then they find out. So they filed this court case. That's their pivot point court case, I think, in North Carolina about dead voters, voting. Turns out the woman who voted was a Trump vote. Her daughter voted on her behalf. It was a Trump vote. Good. Throw it out, and throw her in jail. And anybody who her lawyer's in jail. I don't know what.
It makes Hal. That's what I keep saying. You and I are the Zen ones. I've been calm since election night. We knew this was coming, and just enjoy the comedy of it now and the patheticness of it, and it's just glorious. Does this headline write itself? Where is it? Wait a minute. Vanity Fair. Trump has signaled to allies that the Secret Service will have to drag him from the White House kicking and screaming. I think it was Fugelsang that said, oh, please, really slowly, head first, make sure there's a strong wind.
Yeah, right. Can you imagine what black people across the country are feeling at being able to watch that on video, on repeat? It will be its own TikTok dance. Trump drag.
Did you see they've already put eviction notices on the White House fence? That's fantastic. You got evicted by black people. Okay.
Oh my God, it's so glorious.
It is.
There's so many things all out. Like the Pfizer news today.
Yeah.
Which turns out Pfizer is the only company that did not participate in Operation Warp Speed.
Been saying it all morning. Yep.
And they have 90% efficacy. It's 50% efficacy based on the FDA standards that they lowered so that they could squeak this crap through. And still none of the companies that Trump backs managed to do it.
Yeah.
They still couldn't clear the 50% bar. And Pfizer I'm elated.
Yeah.
I'm just overjoyed that this will end, and he can't claim any credit at all. As a matter of fact, he's been jamming the gears and stomping the brakes on the whole thing the whole time.
Thank you. And by the way, Hal, there has not been enough attention paid to his stupid China ban. If it went from a China ban, it's partially what caused this whole epidemic in America, right? Because everybody from China flew to Europe, and then 40,000 of them flew into New York, which is what caused the explosion in New York. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Okay.
Yeah, they can trace the mutation through Europe. That the Italy strain didn't even, and they thought, okay, East Coast is Europe, West Coast is China. It turns out all the California cases are the European ones. Yeah. Like it's.
Yeah. Well, and I love that that Rick Santorum on CNN said the president is willing to concede if certain conditions are met. And you said, who give a if he concedes or not? It has no legal ramifications. Right. It's just his decision whether he wants to go down in history as the biggest and most pestilent hole ever. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You have a list of demands, and it's like you have no power here.
A concession is basically just a polite formality. It's not a requirement by the Constitution. No.
We need Glinda. Be gone. You have no power here. Yeah. You have no power here. Be gone.
Unless I turn the scepter over to you, you're not the king. I'm always the king. Why are you doing this to me?
We really are the pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. We're just like, oh, you sad, pathetic little orange idiot. Just get out, right?
And everybody's like threatening us with like, oh, he's going to start his own media company, and he's going to be a pariah, and he'll be in the news with like, fine. Just start the Trump Stakes Network and watch how well that works out. Like, it will lay an egg. Fox News has already moved on. BBC Netanyahu congratulated Biden this morning. Netanyahu, who refused to crap on him during that phone call that they were having and made Trump all angry, you know, and literally Netanyahu's like, yeah, maybe Biden can get in there and stop all these arms sales to these three countries that want us dead, who only signed on to this so they could get F-35s.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's his defenders are pathetic. You reacted to Aaron Rupar, said South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem still thinks Trump might have had the election stolen from him, though she can't quite cite any credible evidence of fraud beyond unconfirmed anecdotes. And you said governor of a state with 2 senators and 1/5 the population of Cook County, Illinois says what?
Yeah, right. Tell me about unfair elections and imbalance of power. And like you have 2 senators and 800,000 people. I and Stephanie and John perform for more people than that in a year.
Yes, thank you.
By ourselves.
Yeah, a bunch of great tweets. Dear enraged Trump voter, George W. Bush became POTUS by 538 votes in Florida, and only after a mob put together by Roger Stone intimidated Miami-Dade to stop a recount, and SCOTUS, including 3 people now on the court, handed it to him, and he felt he had a mandate to start a war. It is. I mean, you can. Okay. All right. Predictions. Yeah. Are you angry old bear says, get ready for Trump to resign, for Prince to pardon him. Trump will do a whining doomsday exit speech, claim the fake news media and socialist Democrats conspired to take him down, claim he really won the election. His zombie cult will go insane. It's hard to predict what he's going. John has always said he thinks he'll resign before. I mean,
a lot of people, everybody's saying, because the state you can't pardon for the state charges. So they figure maybe he won't, and being in the office protects him more than anything, so he'll hold on to it or whatever. But the reality is, if he can jettison 50% of the crimes he might have to face after office, he'll absolutely do it. And I'm sure he's dumb enough to think that that Pence can pardon him for state crimes, no matter what people say. Like he'll write an executive order that allows the president to pardon people, and then resign, making Pence and then there could be
there'd be like an order: no black people can prosecute me. Ha ha! Take that, AG of New York.
Right, that's right. Yeah, it has. But here's the thing. I mean, can you imagine a moment where Pence has been this kind of evangelical mole just holding his fire this whole time. And then Trump resigns. Pence is supposed to pardon him, and that's the deal. And Pence just goes, no. Like, can you imagine, like, Pence 2024 flags just go foop all over the country?
like the gun that says boom when you shoot it and a little
Like
flag
bang.
comes out, bang.
That's right. Like, no.
Hal, I
In the
knew
name
that.
of Jesus Christ, I exorcise the demons from the White House.
I had to have you on the election celebration because you're the OG sexy liberal, but also because I knew you would be at my exact level of immature gloating. Because I am not we're not as good as Joe Biden. We are not in the reach out yet. But Dana Goldberg had a sincere question. Wanted you to react to. Sincere question: when 70 million Americans don't seem to have racism, transphobia, misogyny, sexual assault, corruption, treason, bullying, or habitual lying on their list of presidential deal breakers, how exactly do we heal this divide?
Well, I'll tell you actually, because including the Latinos that voted for Trump and the black men that voted for Trump and the Asian people that voted for Trump and the varying degrees of white people that voted for Trump and the mixed race people who voted for Trump, understand that he's told them that they must fear Democrats and socialism and migrants coming across and stealing their jobs. And that fear is so viscerally real for them that they figure, well, he'll try and ban trans people from the military, but somebody will stop him. But nobody will stop Venezuelan socialism from destroying the country. That's where they voted from. There's 30 million of them, absolutely horrifying. But there's a chunk of them, and Hillary Clinton was making this point with the deplorable speech that she goes, yes, there's a basket of deplorables over here, but there are a bunch you can reach. And if you pretend you can't, then you're denying the reality of their fears and the fears that the white working class and the ancillary, Hispanic and black working class around them, who are intermingled with them in a way they were not in the 70s and 80s, are equally afraid of migrant workers taking their jobs and Muslim terror since 9/11, and they have PTSD from that crap. And if you can reach past those fears and go, look, I hate him, not you, which is what I try to do with my childish stuff. I don't attack them. I attack Megyn Kelly. I attack Donald Trump, Don Jr., the people who are the spearheads of this. Give everybody else an off-ramp. If they don't take it, that's another thing.
That's
but
great.
You always give humanity an off-ramp.
Right.
And they will take it.